Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Vegan Breakthrough Podcast. And today we have Rebecca Pawsey as a guest, a vegan activist. How are you today, Rebecca?
I'm really good. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you for coming for this interview. Can you tell our listeners more about who you are, what you do, your YouTube channel, what topics do you cover in your videos?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've been vegan 4 years and I've really only been an activist for 1 year. Well, coming up to a year and a half now. It's changed my life. So I started my YouTube channel to document vegan events I went to or vegan food I was making. And then I also just wanted to incorporate my own life into it because I feel like people relate to people.
I actually heard that you first became vegan when you were 15 or 16, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was 16 to 18. Yeah, so.
Okay, and what was the reason for you to become vegan when you were 16?
It was actually when I got a leaflet from Animal Aid through my parents' letterbox. And I'd never heard of Animal Aid and I didn't know anything about vivisection or vegetarianism or veganism. But from looking at this leaflet, I researched Animal Aid and then I just found out all about veganism, went vegan, and it was very scary. I didn't know anyone else who was vegan at the time. My parents were kind of unsure about it, but they were pretty supportive. So yeah, I was vegan for 2 years, but I found it very difficult back then. And I think a big part of it was not knowing any other vegans, not having that community. So unfortunately, I went back to eating animal products, and it's like one of my biggest regrets to this day. But, you know. Basically,
the lack of support, that was the primary reason?
Yeah. That's why I think like now, in my life as a vegan now, it's so important to have that community, and that's why I always encourage like people to build up vegan communities in their area because it's so invaluable.
You live in Norwich, England, right?
Yeah.
So it's the population of Norwich is about 230,000 people, right? Somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have a big vegan community in Norwich?
Yeah, basically all my friends here are vegan. It's great.
It's
like
great.
a vegan hub, and it's just really heartwarming to see how it's taken off in Norwich and how we have continued to support each other, even though our numbers have grown in our what we call the Norwich Vegans. Every month there's new people coming along to the meetups, but we still manage to keep that real close like feel about it. We always make sure to learn people's names, to introduce ourselves, and to make sure that people are involved in all the different things that we do, and just keeps growing and growing. So it's really great.
That's wonderful. Okay, and so after you stopped being vegan at 18, then you went back to first vegetarianism when you were 24 and then to veganism, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I had a few years in the middle where it was sort of, it was strange because obviously I'd been vegan, and then to go back to eating animals is a very difficult thing to get your head around, and it never sat comfortably with me. So I think ultimately that I knew I was going to end up vegan again at some point. So yeah, it took until age 25, but you know, I'm here now. Yeah.
How did you decide to become a vegan activist?
I just needed to focus in my life because I was at a really difficult time in my life, and I found myself sort of quite depressed and at a loss of what to do. Like I had a job and I had friends and things, but I needed something to focus my energy into to bring me out of this depression I was in. So as I was already vegan, I was like, well, how can I, up my game? So I started looking into the more activism side of things, and just found it so amazing, and it just changed me, so then I just wanted to do it more and more, and as I was helping people become vegan, I was finding happiness in myself as well, and I was like, this is what I'm quite good at, this is what I want to keep doing, what better cause is there to fight for? So that's how I got into activism.
Perfect. And what were your first steps when you decided, okay, I want to be more active and promote veganism? What were your first steps?
First steps, what I did was go to London, and I shadowed Earthling Ed and Banana Warrior Princess. They're doing their street interviews, and they'd only just started out really. They were still in their early days of it, but I just found it so interesting watching them talking to the public. And I was thinking, well, I already know this information and I like talking to people, so I'm going to have a go as well. And I just found it so interesting to talk to people about it, people who would never have maybe thought about it before, and we're just like coming up to them in their day and like, let's talk about veganism, and they're like, oh, okay, and people are into it, you know. So that's the first thing I did. And then I did like chalktivism, and then I did generally, you know, sharing great vegan food with people, and because there's so many different forms of activism, so I just wanted to try it all, and I still like keep my hand in like loads of different forms of it. So
okay, perfect. So in Norwich, do you have a group of activists who participate in Earthling experience demonstrations on a regular basis, or it's not something that is done, let's say, each month?
It used to be kind of sporadic, and we'd just do stuff when and where we could. It still is like that in the sense that if there's a specific protest we want to do, we'll get that rolling, or, you know, there's a specific message that we want to get out, so we'll organise some chalktivism or stuff like that. Recently, I've become one of the organisers of the Anonymous for the Voiceless chapter in Norwich. So with 2 other people, we're making sure that happens at least once a month, and it's like got more structure to it, and it's really sort of getting people involved. You know, when you have that regimented thing, people are going to notice it more. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely very cool. So I live in Calgary, Canada, and so we already had 2 Anonymous for the Voiceless demonstrations here, and we are preparing for the 3rd one. So yeah, that's very, very exciting. And I personally didn't think that this would be as effective as it is. Like, I thought that would be great if 1 or 2 people will actually consider taking veganism seriously, but each time we have at least 20 people, usually more than that, who seriously consider trying veganism, trying vegan diet, and taking more information, all the leaflets that they can get, and seeing how people are shocked to see that. And especially when some teenagers or kids see those shocking footage and they ask their parents, so they started to think. So that's definitely very, very, very effective. Yeah, so I'm happy that it's spreading all over the world.
I know, it's great. It's such a positive activity to do. We always have fun with it, you know. Even though you're spreading a serious message, you've got to have fun with the activism as well, and it's just such a great energy after. And we're always, at the end of it, we're really pumped, and we go get some cake, and we like just chat with each other. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So, and how often do you do your street interviews? I saw multiple videos on your YouTube channel where you have fun asking people like what animal body part, or just what body parts do you love to eat, or some interesting, funny questions. Do you do it like once a month or just sporadically for now?
Well, it's just sporadically because I also work full time, so I just have to fit my activism in where I can. So and also weather permitting. So usually on a weekend I'll be like, can I get out there and do a street interview? If it's sunny, yeah, go for it. If it's rainy, maybe not. So there's not a structure to the street interviews, but I just try and do them whenever I've got a few hours spare. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. And what kind of reactions do you usually get from people? Did you get any angry reactions from people?
Never had an angry reaction. So, you know, sometimes people, if they're in a hurry or whatever, they're not that into it, and they'll just answer a few questions, and then I can see they're sort of itching to go, and I'll just end the interview there. But honestly, most times people are really into it, and it can go on for like half an hour if they, you know, they really get into the debates. A nice thing is that happens quite a lot is that I'll finish a street interview and shut the camera off, and then I'll just continue to talk to those people, just chat and just chill with them for a bit, because, you know, you've had a good interaction, and then you can just, the conversations goes off onto other interesting topics. So I just love that. You get to see a snapshot into people's lives that you would have never spoken to before. So it just gives you a good opportunity to do that.
That's great. And recently, this summer, you got a chance to meet James Aspey and Joy Carvstrong, our fellow activists from Australia. I assume it was a lot of fun. What did you learn from them?
That was a crazy week, man. Like, 'cause it started with the vegan camp out in Nottingham, and I knew James and Joey were coming back with us to Norwich, so hung out with them a little bit, and then it was just a week of fun. honestly, because I had a few days off work, so we were just chilling with them all the time, eating great food. I mean, we did serious work as well. We went to a pig save and we went to a chicken save, and the mood at those things is always pretty somber, but it's, you just remember that while you're doing it. Just hanging out with those guys, I found them very down to earth and very humble and really positive, and that was something that really stuck with me, was how positive they were, and it just brought us all up, and we wanted to up our game, and we wanted to make connections with people all around the world, because I think that's what we need to make veganism as accessible as possible. We need to be showing the love and just all connecting like that, even though vegans have their fights with each other and we fall out. It's like we've got this common goal, so if we can put our differences aside and just get on with it, that's great. And if you make some beautiful friends along the way, that's just a bonus.
Definitely agree with you. So before becoming a vegan, you were a vegetarian for some time, and I have been vegan for a little over than 2 years now. And before that, I have been a lacto-vegetarian for 5.5 years. So there is a big debate that I can see in the modern vegan community. Can we consider vegetarianism as our friend? Because some people really feel that that's a great way of transitioning from vegetarianism, like from carnism to veganism. So what do you think? Some vegans are strictly against vegetarians, like completely. Other people say, you know what, if all people or 30 or 40% more carnists will become vegetarians, that will destroy animal agriculture, like completely. Yeah. So what do you think? What is your take on that? Do you consider vegetarianism as our friend, as a good way of transitioning?
I think realistically, people being vegetarian, like you say, it has a massive impact. So I think it's very important. I never want to encourage it, because I want people to see that being vegan is so easy and so amazing that they don't have to take that step. But I appreciate that it is a great step to maybe get people so they're not completely out of their comfort zone, but they know they're on the right path. So yeah, if people come to me asking for recipes, meat-free recipes, I won't ever give them vegetarian recipes. I'll give them vegan recipes. So, but if someone says to me they're going vegetarian, I'm like, great, that's awesome, and I will support that. And I'll just encourage them to look into the ethics side of things so that they are still in line with their principles, because let's face it, most people go vegetarian because they love animals. So it would naturally lead on that then they would go vegan. So I don't mind if they go vegetarian first, but I'm always going to encourage veganism as the main goal.
Yeah, definitely. And I had an interview with Paul Bashir, and he said a great thing that always try to encourage them going vegan. If they want to do something less than that, they will do it anyway. But it shouldn't be because you told them that try vegetarianism first. Yeah. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So in general, what do you like about the modern vegan movement, and what do you think can be improved?
I like how you see it a lot everywhere now. You just have to walk down the street and you see billboards for vegan options at our restaurant. So I like how it's becoming very well known about. You see vegan cookbooks, vegan magazines in all the places. It's not hidden away anymore. It makes me laugh a little bit though, because I think, well, do these companies actually care, or are they just like cashing in? Like they know what's hot and it's veganism, but it just makes me smile that more people know about it. So that's really lovely to see. What to be improved on? We just need to keep pushing our positive agenda. Just keep making people see that it's fun to be vegan, it's easy to be vegan, it's normal to be vegan. It's coming into the main focus of people's lives now. We just need to keep pushing that. So it's not really an improvement. It's just let's keep going as we are.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, some people say that veganism is becoming mainstream, and it's great to see that. And it's not only about the veganism itself, but even the vegan activism. This demonstration in Israel, they had 30,000 vegans. How inspiring is that?
Crazy. It brought a tear to my eye to see that.
Yes. Are you into reading books? Did you read many veganism-related books?
I don't, to be honest. No.
Yeah, me too, because some people, they want to share vegan books. I'm more into listening to something, like listening to the podcast or even watching documentaries.
And just veganism just creeps in all the time. Like, it's my favorite thing to talk about. So every time I get home from work, I'm talking about it with my housemates and talking about it with my family, and I feel like I'm learning something new every day with veganism, and it just makes me really happy. So yeah, I could read books about it as well, but it's just finding the time to do all these things. So
you have your main Instagram account, Reb Pawsey, but you also have a vegan Tinder activist account, right?
Yeah. I do.
So it says on it, helping guys become vegan who didn't even know they were into veganism before they swiped right. Can you tell us more? What specifically do you do on Tinder?
Because with the street interviews, obviously it's great because you get to talk to people one-on-one, but I thought it takes a lot of time, so I wanted to find somewhere that I had access to a lot of people and I could just chat with them. So I thought, internet dating is massive, right? So I'll get on Tinder, make a profile, but on my profile it says I'm not here to date, I'm just here to talk about veganism. So if they're swiping right, I'm like, perfect, they're up for the conversation. And yeah, so I just talk about it with these guys, and it's incredible how many of them straight away they're like, okay, tell me about it, I don't know anything about it. And some people are like joking about it, and I can tell they're not that into it, but I've had such an amazing success rate on there to turn people vegan, and it's incredible. And I think it's because if people are single, they're looking for some excitement in their life, something new, and then along comes me, this weird girl who's like, stop trying to date me, I just want to talk about veganism, and they find it intriguing, and then they see actually how much sense it makes, and they go for it. And I like to post on the Instagram because I do get some funny interactions on there, but so I like to keep a mix of the ones who are just taking the mick, but then also ones where they've actually gone vegan and they're like well into it. So it's been so successful. I'd say is quite time consuming because I'm swiping right on everyone. Like there's no bias. So I have like 50 odd messages that I have to reply to each day. So I always take an hour out of my day to reply to all the Tinder messages once a day. That's enough. So yeah, it's great.
Wow, that's wonderful. Did you actually date any of them?
No. It's funny because people said to me like, oh, you can actually go on dates with these people, but I just wasn't interested. I just wanted to turn them vegan, and that's just how I've kept it. So yeah. Okay,
cool. And do you do any art?
Yeah, because I studied art at university, and I've done a few exhibitions like since living in Norwich. Actually, I do handmade cards for any people with any occasion. But a lot of people, they do actually want vegan related stuff because they know me and they know I can draw. So I've done a lot of like specifically vegan postcards for people, and badges, which are really cool, really fun. Yeah, and then as well as just looking into the more activism side of it, so creating eye-catching banners for protests and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to incorporate art and veganism, so two things that I love.
Yeah, definitely. So what about your family members? Were you able to convert your sisters, brothers, cousins, mother into veganism?
Not yet, man. My sister, she actually did veganuary at the beginning of the year, so I was very happy about that. She did go back to eating fish and dairy, kind of. She stuck with plant milk, but I think she eats a bit of cheese. But I was like, well, that's better than nothing. And I'm always honest with them. I always talk about veganism if they ask me or if they don't. But my parents, it's tough because I find like with family, they're the hardest people to turn vegan because it's very personal and you don't want to seem judgmental. You don't want to feel like you're attacking them or anything like that. It's pretty difficult. I hope with all my heart that my parents go vegan one day just through seeing like how positive I am about it. But yeah, we'll see. They're not quite there yet.
Parents, it's hard for them to learn something from their kids, right?
It's really hard, and I think they feel almost a judgment, like maybe they didn't do their best parenting because they've brought us up this way and we've gone against it, and that must be quite painful for them to accept. So
with my father, I tried first like multiple times to convert him into the veganism through ethical side. But then I understood that won't work. So now I'm trying to focus on the health side. And I understand that he has some health issues. So I'm pretty sure that this will be more effective. So I'm just sharing all the documentaries about the health benefits of veganism. So I hope this would work.
That's really good. Yeah, if one tactic fails, just try another one. Yes,
yeah, because there are three main components: the health, the ethical side, and the environmental side. So usually most of the people, they care at least about one of these things.
Yeah.
So we need to find out which one it is and to focus more on that. Okay, the last part of our interview is the piece of guidance. So often people ask, I want to try the vegan lifestyle, vegan diet, but I'm afraid that it will be too difficult, too inconvenient, and I'm sure that you have heard it like many times. So what's your piece of guidance to those people?
I say to them, okay, give it a month. Try it for 1 month, because that way you've got the end in sight. So you know it's not scary, it's not forever. Just do your best in that month. Learn as much as you can. Watch some documentaries. Look up delicious food, and don't be too hard on yourself if you mess up. And then I say to them, you've only got to do it for a month. So if you get to the end of the month, I'm pretty sure you'll find you'll want to carry on, because you'll have learned quite a lot and you'll feel good. But if you don't feel like you can carry on after a month, come back to me and then I can give you some more advice. But that is really successful. If you give them that short time frame, it doesn't seem scary, and then you'll be surprised at how many people like really pick up on that and just run with it. So
yeah, totally agree. And especially with the modern technology, all the meat alternatives that we have, at least in the Western world, you can create a vegan version of any non-vegan meal, right?
Yeah, you really can. It's inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Rebecca, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate your time, and I'm so happy that I met you, and I wish you all the best.
You too. Thank you. It's been really fun.